Hello and welcome to Your Health Reclaimed with DrPND, where we help you reclaim your health with tips, tools, and resources to live your most optimal and vibrant life. Here's your host, DrPND.
All right, everyone, welcome to Your Health Reclaimed. This is your host, Dr. PND, and today I am super excited because we actually have another awesome guest on the podcast that we're going to talk about health, longevity, and how that relates to, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and everything like that. I would like to introduce Ian Duckett. He is an amazing, amazing man who has been there, done that, has withstood the test of time. And as him and I discussed right before I started the recording, is that these are the people that really count, because people like him and we did Richard Schuller, these are the people that have been there, they have done that, they have the wisdom, they have the knowledge and the true discernment, how to live a healthy lifestyle. But above all, Ian not only is personally successful in this endeavor, but he also has had thousands of clients over the decades that he taught how to do that. So he has personal, but above all, amazing professional experience that has given him this wisdom, knowledge, and discernment that we're going to unravel and unpack today. So Ian, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate your time that you were able to give it to me, because I know you're a super busy guy. And thank you for coming on the podcast. Welcome, and let's get started, my friend.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. That was awesome. Thank you very much. And yeah, we've got to give a shout out to yourself as well. Doing podcasts like this, and it's helping so many people. I know it sounds really cliche and a little bit cheesy, but the more you can pass on, it actually feels really good that you can help somebody. If somebody can get one little thing out of this podcast today, one little thing that helps somebody turn a corner, or they can think about the health and fitness or improve in any way, shape or form, well, it's always been worth doing, hasn't it? Absolutely. And thank you.
I completely agree.
Thank you
so much, man. Well, I'm super excited. Well, let's kind of get the little stats out of the way real quick if people want to know. How old are you?
I'm 58, so I'm 59 this October.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're approaching the big 6-0.
Yeah, big 6. I'm excited for it, actually. It's not a worry. It's not. I think it's a privilege to get old, if I'm honest, and we're all lucky if we can make it to getting old.
That's an amazing attitude, because most people, they fear getting old, and I think the biggest reason for that is because the majority of people are what I call busted and disgusted by the time they get that age. They just have a lot of ailments, a lot of illnesses. That we're not talking about traumatic accidents so much. We're talking about just degenerative disease due to strictly lifestyle. Awesome. Yeah. And we're going to come back and touch on that. So give me how tall are you? How much do you weigh?
Right. I am 5'3". I used to be 5'4", so maybe all the heavy squatting's reduced me down a little bit. And that's made me think about what Richard said on your podcast last time about, lots and lots of stretching. I do lots of stretching, but hopefully I'll be able to elongate my spine a bit and get that extra inch back. So I'm 5'3". I am 143, 144 pounds at present. Very lean at that. Sort of round about the weight I used to compete at. Not quite as sharp, but quite lean at that, quite tight at that.
Yeah, you're very lean. I've always seen your peers in your off season. You're like perfect example of. You looked amazing. I mean, look like you're about 2 or 3 weeks away from stepping on stage at any moment of your life. Yeah. Again, lifestyle, nutrition, and fitness. That's right here. All right. So let me ask you this: when did you first begin weight training? When did you get bit by the bug and just the overall kind of lifestyle of the fitness, weight training, nutrition, and all that?
Right. I was one of those strange kids at school. Even at 10-year-old, I was doing a lot of running. We used to run, maybe 25, 30 miles a week, believe it or not. Even at that age, I was really into doing a lot of cross-country running, which I did. And I would do press-ups and sit-ups even at 10-year-old. And then at 13, I stumbled upon a book in the library, Arnold's Education of a Bodybuilder. And I didn't realize that there was such thing as weights and bodybuilding. At that point, all I was interested in was trying to look like Conan, the comic character. So
Wow.
comics, and that's what I wanted to look like. So I was climbing and press ups and crunches, trying to look sort of athletic and muscular like he was. But then when I realized that there was such a thing as bodybuilding, that was about 13-year-old, I've never stopped. I've never stopped training since. I had a makeshift sort of set of weights and a bull worker, which I've still got to this day, and a chest expander, which I've still got to this day, all those years later. They're a bit rusty and a bit old, but like me. But yeah,
That's awesome.
but I've still got them, and I've been training since that day.
That's amazing. It's funny you say that when you said the education of a bodybuilder. That's how I started. I had the original 1977 signed book by Schwarzenegger. I'm killing. I don't even know what I did with it. I'm gonna kill myself. Like I'm so upset on what I did with that book. But that's how I started. That was my book, and I remember going to the programs and just reading everything and anything I can get my hands on. That is so funny you said that, man.
Awesome. I still got mine as well from that day. I borrowed it from the library, and then not long after, I bought a copy, and I've still got it to this day. You know, so I love keeping things like that. And it's amazing now you've said that you think to yourself sometimes, if I hadn't have stumbled on that book, what would the path have been in my life? Because there's been many books throughout my life, because I'm a really avid reader. There's been many books in my life that have given me a direction and made me, maybe change business or change direction in training or change direction in life or think about, business life a little bit more or balance of life. So many books can alter your life. So, I'm all for people reading, as much as they can really, because you never know.
Very much so, yeah. You're so right about that. Continues to keep learning and reading and educating yourself, because you never know what you can learn. Even if I reread books to this day, still some of the old ones that I get something out of it that I'm like, how did I not see that 10 years ago?
Yeah, it changes every time. You can have times in your life where it means something different to you, depending on what you're going through at that time.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. All right, real quick, we're gonna finish with this with the stats. So at your age, because you're a strong guy, give me your deadlift, squat, bench, and like the press. Give me some like good stats here, like current.
So this is sort of current strength, would you say?
Yeah, like the last few years that you've done or so.
Oh, right. So the last time in competition, I'd do that for powerlifting competition, might have been 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. And I did, let me say, squat would have been 145. And that's obviously, competition squat. Now, that was a milestone for me because I had a leg injury about 9 or 10 years ago. And to be able to squat again was a big milestone. So I was very happy with that. So I can go onwards and upwards from that. Bench press was probably 95 kilo. I'm talking kilos here. So
kilos. I was going to say that you multiply it by 2.2, guys.
Yeah. So. And deadlift is probably one of my strongest moves. It might have been 195 kilo. As sort of as what I can sort of do now. I have sort of an average strength. That was training for a competition, and I can sort of any day of the week, deadlift quite well.
Yeah,
I'm still strong in the back. As you get older, you find that your pressing strength tends to go a little bit, but your pulling strength, well, it works for me anyway. My pulling strength is still really, really quite good. I used to be very strong when I was younger, but that is then and this is now. You've obviously got to fight along with age as you're getting older, and you've got to warm up a lot more and everything else.
Sure. Yeah, but that's you pulling a raw deadlift, over 400 pounds, because 195 pounds, what about 430, 440-ish?
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Again, that's a competition style, deadlift, no straps, no reps like that.
No. It's completely raw, just about completely raw and a bit of chalk.
I mean, that's 60 years old. That's but also your relative strength is insane because of your weight to what you're pulling. That is crazy. Because if you're weighing 145 pounds, you're pulling like 430, 440. That's a great deadlift.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've always been so when I was tiny, when I was a kid, I concentrated on the basics of like trying to basically gain strength workout to workout. And I found that those sort of programs, the heavy basic programs, made me a much better bodybuilder than trying to do the overall, sort of like, lots of sets and everything. So I followed more the abbreviated type of training. And like what Brooks Kubik would advocate. Do you know Brooks Kubik is, I'm sure.
Yes, no, very much so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that guy. We talk often, and he's always been like a little bit of a mentor to me. So I really got on well with Brooks.
Yeah, it would be great for you guys to do an interview, or like do like a podcast. I think he started doing those, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it would be awesome for you guys to get Chris. Yeah, he has a lot of wisdom too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's an amazing guy, ahead of his time with things.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll see you, and also you and John. You guys did John Hart. You guys did a phenomenal interview. I love that. With Iron. It was that his podcast that he started.
Yeah, he started his own. And then what we've done is done this one together. Iron sharpens iron. So what we're going to do, and we did only a couple of weeks ago, we did an interview with a friend of mine who's a very good bodybuilder, and he's 63. He's 62 or 63, and he's in really good shape. So we interviewed him, and that will be out shortly. So that should be a very good podcast as well.
I can't wait, yeah, because I love that. You guys had a phenomenal discussion. I listened to the podcast like twice, literally.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. So real quick, what do you do, and what did you do for a career? Like, could you just briefly go over that? People got to get an idea of, what is your profession, now?
Right.
What is your profession?
Well, it's quite simple. What I did was, before I knew that when I was young that I wanted to own a gym and write books for a living, type of thing, and win competitions. And I'm really happy to say, I'm proud of myself to say that I actually achieved all my goals, what I was set to do, even at that young age. And I'd sort of decided that at maybe 15, 16-year-old. So what I did was I worked in normal run-of-the-mill jobs when I was a kid, being a milkman, working in a warehouse, working as a welder, which allowed me to make some my first gym equipment. And at 24-year-old, my late wife, Louise, we got together then, and what we did was open a gym, a very large gym for the day, which was 10,000 square feet. And that was when there wasn't many, normal private owned gyms them days.
Right. That's a big gym for back in the day.
We had power racks in it, everything in it. Thick bars, some really good machines. People used to come from far and wide, even come from the USA to train there. The Hygiene magazine made it really quite famous. So people would travel from far and wide to come and work out there, because we had everything which now is common, but wasn't common them days. Like
right.
Bars, the power racks, and
functional stuff.
So from being 24-year-old, I've been self-employed. I've worked for myself, either owning a big gym or private training facilities and training clients. So I've worked in that industry now up until now, which will be 37 years, 36 years, somewhere around there.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. So you've worked literally with thousands of clients over the years, because I know you guys used to do online, like phone consultations and stuff like that before it was even popular, and obviously in person as well, and all the people you get.
I didn't really like the online stuff, so I've never really done that. The simple reason is I prefer the person to be in front of me, and I prefer the person so hands-on. I like to be like that. So if they're getting ready for a competition, somebody was getting ready for a competition. I don't work very much these days. I'm sort of semi-retired. But if they were getting ready for a competition, I preferred to see them each week. Wherever they were traveling from, they'd come from far and wide again. Traveling sometimes 2 hours to come and see me. But
that's amazing.
What I was proud of was I kept everything really basic and healthy. So I wouldn't starve people. I wouldn't have people doing tons and tons of CV and things like that, and I would very, very careful with the diets. So I worked with a lot of girls mostly. And obviously you can't be messing about with ladies' diets too much, because you get hormone problems, you get like where the metabolism crashes. So I kept things really simple, and kept the health in check more than anything else.
That's amazing. I watched your documentary from like 9 years ago, whatever the old YouTube it was, and I saw you, like how you were handling all the people. Like you said, everybody was just really healthy. Not starving people. When you said CV, by the way, what he's talking about, guys, he's talking about cardiovascular. He's not like doing a 2-3 hour cardiovascular workouts that usually prescribed and kills people and crashes. And one of the things is that when he talked about kept things healthy, is I want to emphasize is that with women, they overtrain severely, hormonal dysregulation, metabolism crashes, thyroid damage. I work with a lot of people that have done competition, And in my practice, I see a lot of hormonal, dysregulation due to that, because just they literally damage their, metabolism from severe dieting, severe cardiovascular training in general. The periods, especially with young women, really messes with their, monthly periods, which again, that's hormonal dysregulation. Some, don't even get it back for months on end after that. So that's really amazing. Again, you showed how you can do a phenomenal competition and get the body fat nice and low, but yet be vibrant and healthy. That's amazing.
Because girls can go actually too lean, to give a case point of Joanne, my wife now, when she competes in the natural, figure Britain and things like that. So she's competing. But what we do is, as she's dieting down, we just keep her really full. And rather than going like where you're trying to get your abs out, or, trying to get where your striations are everywhere, sometimes you look better keeping fuller. So she enters these competitions where the girls have like really dieted really hard under other trainers type of thing. And I'm not, each to their own. Everybody does things, that's each to their own. And, and they get really, really lean. And then Jo stands on there looking full, and she looks a lot younger for being fuller. Do you see what I mean? So she's a standout. So sometimes trying to get really lean for a girl, you lose your fullness of your bum, you lose the width of your back. Your waist doesn't look as small because you're not carrying that sort of upper mass on your upper back or your upper chest. So we always try to train heavy, not do too much, maybe 3 days a week at the absolute most, a little bit of walking, plenty of posing practice, and keeping the calories quite high. Higher the calories, at a starting point, then we just trickle them away, and never going too low, and then start to build them back up again as they've got lean enough. So, it's quite a simple process, but it worked fantastic.
Absolutely. And again, back to bone healthy. Well, let me ask you this. So let me shift your philosophy and your expertise to your average client. That people, used to come to you and say, hey, I want to build muscle, I want to get healthy, I want to lose body fat. Kind of go over your philosophy, so for the people that don't compete or don't ever want to compete, they might be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever.
Yeah, cool. Well, now I work sort of semi-retired now, so I don't work a great deal. I might do 15 hours a week. Now, the people I train now have been friends with me for years. Some of them have competed in the past, but now some of them are in the 50s, 60s, 70s, because they might have been with me like 30 years and they're still training. Now, what I do with these people is they might do 2 or 3 workouts a week, depending, and they'll be all body programs. Now, when I say all body programs, there might be like combinations of exercises. So you might go from a bench press to a pull down, few combinations of that. You might go from a crossover to a band row, few sets of that. So what I tend to do is more functional work, more moving supersets, not striving so much on the weight side of things, i.e. trying to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Sure.
But keeping the heart rate elevated, but working the muscles from every angle. So what I mean by all body, they might have lunges in there, they might have like, stiff leg deadlifts, they might have leg extension, leg press. They do loads of core work. So I work with core work as a warm up on every client every time we train as well. As far as diet goes, healthy eating, basically healthy eating. So they've got healthy body fat and the lean. I tend to use the training to try and lean them out as much as if they're eating a good basic diet and they want to lean out a little bit more. Just once I've got them up and running with training, then it's keeping it really quick. So a workout can last tops 50 minutes from start to finish. And what I do with the eating is educate them in healthy, organic, good food. And nothing's out of bounds, really. So you're eating homemade bread, proper eggs, cheeses, yogurts, oats, cereals. If they want to be vegetarian, that's fine. There's ideas with that, beans and things. So, we mix and match things. I've got a client who's been a good friend for years. He'll be 71. He's got an amazing physique. He's in really good shape. He's trained 3 days a week with me for forever. And he eats the same basic diet, every day. And he has done for the last 30 years. He has the same lunch, the same breakfast, same dinner. And he eats, homemade sort of oat cakes, and he makes his own bread. He walks probably 5 or 6 miles a day, every day, and he'll train with me 3 days a week. And it's so simple. And he looks brilliant. And it's people like, well, You know, he must be in the top, not 0.5% of people at 71 looking like he does. And no sort of hormone replacement or anything like that. It's completely natural.
You know, this is so amazing you said that, because, you know, just to recap, like 2 or 3 compound, heavy, good quality workouts, whole body workouts a week. You said no more than 50 minutes, 5-0 at the most, you know, which are perfectly fine. And then sticking to wholesome, organic, high quality, high nutrient dense foods. If you're vegetarian or lean more towards the vegetarianism or whatever, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is wholesome food structured the right way. This is a simple message. And again, I have seen this over and over. I started my career in 1997. I became a personal trainer. And I was going through medical school thinking that, you know, I can't be a personal trainer, you know, because that's not good. And, you know, my uncle's a physician. You know, he was like, you can't be a personal trainer. You got to have an MD behind your name, not a PT. And anyway, but I kept doing that, and I fell in love with it. And that's kind of how everything started off. But very early on, actually about a year after I got certified as a personal trainer, I had a mentor who used to use Perillo Performance. I don't know if you remember John Perillo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, so I had the software. Yes, you remember the old software that what was the bottom line? You know, a few meals a day, can be anywhere from 3 to 6 meals a day, whatever the client wanted. And it was wholesome food, good quality food. And I started implementing nutrition back then with personal training. Very few people relatively in Florida, where I used to live, used to do that. And I found out really quickly that you couldn't really change much as far as your body composition if you didn't address the nutrition.
Right.
But back to the point that you said is what I have found before I went back to school and became, you know, physician in natural medicine, I started to really, you know, see a pattern even very early on. From 1997 until 2014, 15, is that most of my clients, 90% of my clients, worked out twice a week. They did a whole body, basic what you could have been was box squats, step ups, you know, deadlifts, dumbbell deadlifts, squat, whatever they can, right? But bottom line was 2 or 3 times a week. Most of them were doing it twice a week, 50 to 60 minute stops, and 10 minutes might have been stretching and something like that. But the bulk of the workout, like you said, 45, 50 minutes. Quit the processed food. Quit the excessive alcohol, or better yet, eliminate that, and stick to the basic nutrition. Now, if somebody wanted to obviously do an accelerated fat loss, and they're like, look, I have a wedding I got to go to in like 12 weeks, then we have to kind of dial things in a little more appropriately. But bottom line was the same exact thing you said. And I never, ever, honestly, ever subscribed to any of the extremes, whether it would have been the carnivore diets, ketogenic diets, you know, any, you know, excessive stuff, you know, aside from competition or anything like that, but, you know, cutting out carbs completely or severely decreasing them, starving people, any of that.
It's not sustainable. It never is sustainable. You know, you've got to have something which you can do forever, you know, and you can do for life. And if you start like cutting things out, you know, at some point you're gonna blow a gasket and go
100%.
Stuff what you're missing out on. So you're better off doing it, you know, slowly catch your monkey, as I say, just nice and steady, just trickling it away. And you know,
that's awesome. You know, you're 100% right, and that's why for the viewers, that's what I want to emphasize. Exactly what Ian said. That has withstood the test of time. And if you look at anybody who's been in this industry for literally decades, you're going to see somewhat a very similar, the same pattern. Yeah. The whole training 5-6 days a week, killing yourself, doing an hour, 2 hours of cardio a day. Look, if you thrive on that, if you like to, you know, some people I've had.
But you are going to keep doing that for years on end, you know.
No,
so
like I said, you're going to blow up gas.
You know, you're going to get joint problems as you get older and things like that. You know, I've only ever had one sort of major injury, and that was just through being stupid. It was my own fault, you know. So,
what did you do to your knee, by the way?
It wasn't my knee. I pulled a load of muscles on the outside of my thigh. You know, what it was I was squatting at the time about 165 kilo.
Yeah.
On the second rep, my knee just fell forward. Now, the reason it had done it was because it was my late wife Louise was poorly, and I was going through a period of anger. I just couldn't. Every time I trained, I still had to train, but I was training recklessly without, you know, warming up properly and just angry. I just couldn't care. So, you know, that hurt myself. I hurt myself, you know, quite badly, where, you know, it took a long time before I could ever train my legs properly again, you know,
Lovely.
like I can now.
Sure. Yeah, can so can you go, if you don't mind, go over this horrendous time and how you got through that with your weight life? Because your wife, she was, I mean, you guys were started everything together, and I saw
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
some photos. I mean, you guys lived the lifestyle.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
two
yes.
wonderful young kids, and if you don't mind, can you go over
Oh, no,
like
no, no
that a little
problem at
bit?
all. Well, Louise has been past now 9 years just this year, so it'll be 10 years coming this next February. She passed away. Now she passed away from cancer, and she was only young. She was just coming up to 51 for when she passed away, so it was a very young age really, and no age at
Wow.
all. But that obviously made me think about life. I mean, we've got two lovely kids. I say kids, but they're they're a lot older now. Lewis will be 23 and Molly will be 25. Lewis will be coming up 23 and Molly will be coming up 26 this next year, this end of this year. So they're brilliant kids, and you know, I'm so proud of them. But what we did was, when Louise was poorly, when we knew that it was you know, terminal, we sold all what we had, because we had a couple of personal training gyms. At the cars, everything just went, and what we did was we built a gym outside, which we have here, and this is where I work from now, because she needed to know that because the kids are quite young then, you know, but still at school, that we could do that. I could run the ship basically,
Yes.
do a little bit of work, but yet also be here for the kids. So, and that's that I've been doing that ever since. Molly's got married since, and we've got a little grandson, and but Lewis is still at home for now. So, if you saw Lewis, my son, he's over 6'5". You know, and
I
I'm
saw that. That's
uh,
crazy.
the reason being is that Louise was 6 foot, and there's a saying that there always is. There's a saying that the son will always be taller than his mum. So he's
Yes,
obviously done that. You know, it's very much like her in build, but and he's a bodybuilder as well. He trains and
I saw
bodybuilds.
that. I saw that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys, so when you went through this time when Luis passed away, how did you? Because this is around the time when you said you hurt your leg because you got into really, like, you're angry and depressed. You're going through grief.
Yeah.
How long did a grief take to kind of play itself out that you can
Oh,
go back to somewhat normalcy?
to somewhat normal. I couldn't speak about Louise basically. You know, I wouldn't have been able to sit here and talk to her about for 5 years nearly.
Really?
5 years since she passed away. Oh yeah. We'd
Wow.
been together for a long time. We'd been married like 25 years, you know, and nearly 26 years before she passed. So, you know, it was really hard to you know, talk to anybody about it. You know, I just got my head down, a little bit of work, and did the best for the kids basically.
Sure.
But I never stopped training, and the training helped. You know, obviously I got the injury, but I could still,
Yeah.
and I put effort into doing. I had to have a direction, like an obsession, because I'd sort of stopped competing at that point. So I wrote quite a few books, you know, to help other people. About having a direction, writing books, because I've been writing books since I was 30-year-old, really. So I have done quite a few, and got them out, and then did some work for charity, because I thought, well, I've got all this strength and health. Why
Yeah.
can't I be doing something for other people? So, and that helped me as well, you know, helping others, or
Yeah.
raising money for the hospice where Louise was, you know, or raising money for any other charity to do with cancer. It helped, you know, it helped me come to terms with it a little bit more, having
That's
some
amazing.
to you know, I had to have a little bit of a fight going on. So I did a lot of things like hiking, you know, 1,000 miles, and doing chins for charity, or whatever it was. I just did what I could.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I mean, you went through one of the hardest thing anybody can go through. You know, like losing a child and losing a wife. Like in your case, you guys were best friends. I mean, you guys, she was everything, right? Kids.
Yeah.
But that's amazing how, you know, that discipline carried over and you kept going and you're able to get through it, even though through this, you know, horrendous time. But that's, wow, that's, man, I'm really sorry about that. And you know,
You know,
that's,
it's all good now, and I'm
thank
really
you for
lucky.
sharing.
I feel like I'm really lucky in life now, because I've got Joanne now, and I feel like I've had two lives. I've had two amazing women in my life. You
Yeah,
know, Louise was amazing. Joanne's amazing. You know,
that's a blessing.
it's gone so well. Me and Louise never had a crossword. never argued. And I'm the same with Joe. We never have a crossword. We never argue. We get on really, really well. So, you know, it's a
That's amazing.
blessing. The kids are great and the kids get on well with her as well. Very, very well. So, you know, I feel
What a
like
blessing.
I had two lives really.
Oh, that's amazing. And real quick, did you notice when you went through this grief, like you said, when you hurt yourself, did you notice that your body wasn't functioning like you used to
Oh,
generally?
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Much, much tighter. Felt tight, felt wound up, felt
Yeah.
like this all the time.
Yeah.
Took a long, long time to ease and come to terms with things, really. Took a long time before I could train properly and feel right. I did a lot of yoga, which helped.
Yeah, sure.
Especially after the injury. So I was doing yoga most days, just for myself. And if I went, you know, on holiday, I would do the classes while I was away. But I got as many books as I could on yoga and did my own little yoga plan, which helped. And I did that every day, and that helped mend me, if you know what I mean, because it's very meditative if you're doing it right, and if you're doing it quiet and on your own, it's even better. So I found yoga is an ideal thing to do with weight training.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
you know, when you mentioned Parello as well, you know, I started with Parello back in '93, and I don't think I've had a workout since without stretching in between every set, and I do that every client. And I don't see this much with other personal trainers when I do see them in the odd gyms we go to. I don't see it a great deal, but I've always been big on stretching, and we stretch after every set we do, and stretch prior to training and stretch after training. It's a huge component of my sort of philosophy, if you will.
Yeah, no, this is amazing you said that because I have found that before, during, and after, stretching makes a massive difference to me and with everybody else. And you know, you always have those experts on there, oh, you know, don't stretch before a workout, you really shouldn't, you don't have to stretch. You know what? I completely disagree. And anybody who has practically experienced it, they can vouch for it. And I can, you know, when you live longer, you train longer, you start seeing patterns. You have all those armchair experts that could come say, well, you don't need to foam roll, you don't need to warm up, you don't need to just, you know, warm up with the bar. You know, sure, if some of those people are more gifted, they can get away with the stuff for a while. Some do.
You can get away with it when you're young, but you can't as you get older. But if you did it when you was young, you would have less problems as you got older.
Exactly. And they don't think that. And I've seen it time and time again. Sure enough, it can be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, boom, sad injury. Oh,
I quite often say to people as well, I say 10 years goes like that. 10 years goes so quick. It's only like, you know, there's so many workouts just go like that. So you know, it alters every 10 years, I'd say, your body and how it is. So you keep you've got to keep on top of it. Another point on the stretching as well is sometimes I tell people if I get somebody new, you know, about stretching, I say, look, it's instinctive. Every animal, whenever it wakes up, every animal stretches
all the time.
All the time. Cats, dogs, they do it all the time. Do it instinctive. So why aren't we doing it as humans? You know, we should. Of course, we should do it.
100%. You know, and the reason. So, guys, people that are listening to the podcast, the reason also I asked Ian about how long it took him to start functioning and training properly after this grief is so the kind of grief that Ian went through, that you went through, Ian, is one of the worst you can go through. So, what I wanted to, the lesson here is if people that have gone through grief and you guys train regularly, keep in mind that that's a severe stressor to the body. And I really emphasizing severe. With that being said, what he said, how he was very tight and tense, and that will happen. So you have to really pay attention and understand, especially if you're somebody who likes to live the lifestyle, who exercises, and like me and him, you know, that's our way out, and we love that. You have to be extremely careful because your body will downregulate its function without not just strength, but like you said, tightness. I can vouch for that. I lost a father. I'm only son, and you know, there's nothing like losing your wife. Trust me, it's not even comparable. But nonetheless, the first time I experienced really bad grief, and everything was rocking and rolling for the last 4 or 5 years. I was hitting recent PRs stuff, and mind you, that my dad passed away 2 years ago, so I was 45. So you know, everything was going great. About after the shock wore off about 4 or 5 weeks, and like the grief cycle started coming in, I started getting stupid injuries. not a maximum weight. And again, I just couldn't figure out why was I so tight. I'm not doing different movements. My technique is open. Like you said, you couldn't focus. You was kind of training, trying to go to the training, and you're going through the motion, but your body just not functioning optimally. And that was a lesson learned. So anybody going through stress, it doesn't have to be severe grief like that, but anybody who is going through severe stress, be very careful, because just the body doesn't function optimally when you're loose, when you're having a great time, when things are going well, you just going to the gym, right?
That reminds me of a point as well. Just recently, over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, I've lost my father, and then I lost Louise's dad as well. And then after that, we lost our Louise's dog. So we had all this stress, and all this upset. And what I did for like maybe 6 months was just do band work. So I actually knew that the stress was too much and the upset was too much. So I backed off the weights completely and just did bands and worked with them and freehand exercises for about 3 months. And that helped me keep training, but without it being too stressful on my body. Because remember, it's another nearly 10 years on, or 7 or 8 years on. Again, your body changes. So, I knew that I couldn't handle the weights. Every time I was doing weights, it was making me far too sore because I couldn't recover from the upset. So, because I was really, really close to Louise's dad, really close. It was like a proper dad.
Thank you for sharing it. And again, you said, when you said that Louise, the dog died, right? Well, it's not just the dog, it's what that dog was connected to.
Absolutely.
That carries this emotional power. That's another loss.
It's just too much to handle in the space of 2 years. We'd lost both fathers and Daisy as well. So, it sounds silly, but, everybody goes through grief. Everybody loses somebody.
100%.
Everybody will do, but it's how you handle it and how you come through it. Because those people will want you to live life to the full, and they want you to be happy. So you've got to find ways to do that.
Honor their memory and so forth. And that's what you said. Like one of the things, again, just kind of reiterate the aspect, what Ian you're saying is that a lot of people go, okay, I'm going through a lot of stress, or I'm going through, a lot of grief. Let me go and crush my workout. Yeah. And people go there and go balls to the wall. That is the stupidest thing. I know you want to, but you have to respect your body. And what you said, it can be yoga, bands, stretching, just, like body weight work, whatever. It can be just going there. If you want to power lift, go light, 40, 50%. Just go to motion. Because you'll hurt stuff.
Be sensible, because you've only got one body and you will break it down. And your body only knows one stress. Wherever it's coming from, it knows one stress. So whether it's grief, whether it's, job worries, money worries, whether it's, trouble with your other half, it only knows one stress, and it'll overspill. And if you're training as well really hard, well, it'll just overspill, and you'll end up with some injury or some illness. And you've got to look after yourself, really.
You're so right. And stress is so insidious that if you talk to any emergency room physician, I had clients over the years, I had friends who are in emergency room, they do trauma work. He'll tell you, there's a tremendously high amount. They'll give you anywhere from 60 to 80% of people visiting emergency rooms, aside from like car accidents and stuff like that. But people walking in there thinking they're having a heart attack, or they can't breathe, whatever. It is stress related. And like you said, you have the stress cup, and you always have to constantly ask, okay, what is my stress cup? Okay, you might be sleeping and eating diet and taking your supplements, but like you said, you have financial problems, you have pressure at work, what's going on because you feel tighter, you just feel tense, like you said,
And everybody can handle it different. I've said this many times. Everybody can handle stress in different ways. I've got friends who have run multi-million pound businesses, and yet I couldn't handle that. I couldn't unbelievably think about how much wages they've got to pay and all the people they have working underneath them and the bills they've got to pay. I couldn't sleep at night or something like that, so but everybody handles it, and they just laugh it off, it's
but you're so right, and I'm the same way with you. I couldn't handle it. I've had clients who, like you said, work multi-million-dollar businesses, and you got a couple in the billions. You're like, how do you handle 1,500, 2,000 people and all the stuff? And they just roll it off. But I talked to actually a client psychiatrist of mine, and one of the things that, again, people don't understand, it's very easy if you have a physical limit. Okay, you can deadlift 430 pounds. Somebody can deadlift 700 pounds. Somebody can barely push 250. That's easily seen. You go to the body, try it, see what you can do. But we also have mental, emotional, and spiritual limits and strengths.
Right.
And there's those people who can roll the dice, and you're like, dude, I'll be in an insane asylum. I have to take some, Xanax every day. How do you deal with this? And they thrive on that. Again, back to your point, great point. You said that because you have to respect what you're built like. What do you, what can you do and what can you not do?
What your personality is like, really, how you handle things.
Exactly.
I've got friends what can train with me and then they go and train elsewhere other days of the week, and they can handle that. So you've got to pick your training to fit your lifestyle and your your ability to handle stress and handle other problems in life. I mean, I don't have any sort of worries or anything these days. I don't have a mortgage, I don't have any outstanding bills or anything like that. I work very little, so I've got a much easier life nowadays than when I had a big business, when I was running all the gyms and things like that. So, even though I'm older, I'm less stressed than I used to be, so I can still train fairly hard, and I can still make gains. And that's because of I've reduced all the stress in my life, really.
Yeah.
Things
That's
are
a good point.
happy life now.
That's a great point, because a lot of people that I've seen over the years, they'll stop, they'll quit. Even people that actually enjoy training is just the stresses in life. Not making wise financial decisions, not managing things properly, taking stuff that they couldn't handle that they thought they could. And, but it will wear you out. You can handle it for a few years, maybe, but eventually as the decades go by, you will wear you out, you'll be done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I realized after years and years of running the businesses we did, and when we found out Louise was poorly, we had a heart-to-heart, and she said, "Look, we've worked far too much. We have worked far too much, and we have not had enough holidays by no stretch of the imagination."
Wow.
We realized that, or I realized that what I'd been striving for is to make the business really big and earn a lot of money. And I was earning a lot of money, but it went everywhere else. I've said this on other podcasts before. It went to staff, it went to buildings, it went to everything, tax and VAT and everything. So, I'm better off now than I was then. And I was working probably 80 hours a week then, because I don't have any overheads now. I realized that lifestyle and being happy and being able to do what you want to do is what makes me happy. Some people love big businesses and they thrive off it. But I realized when we downsized everything, the more I got rid of, I don't even own a car. The more I got rid of, the more payments I had not to pay out, the less you have to work, the happier I became. Yeah. Because now I can look after myself, spend time with my grandson, spend time with my kids, spend time with Joanne, because she starts work later on in the day. So I've got a really good life now. And that is from cutting everything away, and a lot of people, you've got to sit and think, you've got to think, look, is this life of running on a treadmill, or, on a hamster wheel, making money and giving everybody else money and paying for every little thing you've got, is it worth it? Am I happy? Or do I cut everything away, cut the cloth accordingly, and live a more simple life? And that's what I do now, is a very, very simple, minimalist type of life now.
That is an amazing, thank you for sharing that, because again, I know we're not talking about training and diet and macronutrients so much, but these are the most important things in life that you don't think about. That's not going to most likely apply to you in your 20s, let alone your teens. But as people, especially here in the United States, it's cutthroat. It's dog eat dog. What can you get more? How can you climb the corporate ladder? And there's no contentment. It's continuous strife.
It's always more. You'll always
100%. And I see exactly what you say. The more people buy stuff, the more they have to there. You have to obtain it. You have to maintain it. You have to manage it. And eventually, either leave it alone, discard it, or sell it, or give it away. And those people get bogged down on owning stuff and managing stuff and buying. And like you said, the money goes everywhere. The more they make,
all that stuff that you accumulate, all them things that you accumulate, all needs feeding. All needs feeding with cash, and you've got to be working to be able to pay all that, to pay sat in your drawer or sat in your cupboard or sat on your drive. I'm not saying everybody don't get a car. Joanne's got a car, but it's a very cheap sort of runaround that we have, because we don't want car payments. We want to keep everything.
Exactly. No, exactly. People finance here everything. But back to your point, I have people that are like you, and I have people and friends who, one of them is a literally multimillionaire. The guy is worth over $200 million. But if I took you to his house, no, he grew up from severe poverty, like literally your typical rags to riches thing, like that.
Yeah.
If you met him, you would know that. If I took you to his house, his house, he can live in a $50 million home. His house is barely $3.5 million home. And that's just because he pays everything cash. He has a nice car, but one car. He's had it for 7 years. People usually like him will buy a car every single year, or I have people that change cars every 6 months.
Yeah.
But the point being is, like, so relatively speaking, he never bogs himself down with much stuff. Yeah. He could.
He's earned the money and he's done the business, but he's not a slave to it, and he's not buying and buying, you know. No. So he's enjoyed obviously the business side of things, because it's like, you know, like a good workout. Some people love that type of thing, and they love business, you know. And I was good at it at the time, but then I realized, I thought, do you know what? It's not making me happy like I thought it would do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
funny you said it, because I went through the same thing when my wife and I had our facility in Tampa, Florida. You know, we have 7 employees and we ran the whole thing back and forth. And like you said, you know, working, you know, 8, 12-hour days, and they get training in between, sleeping 4 hours, you know, and thank you for sharing that, because again, these are things that have to be put out there because people don't think about that.
Because when you're talking about health and longevity, that's one of the main things. You know, we're not here long enough to be doing something, you know, be a slave to something, really.
Absolutely.
You know, our next stage of our downsizing, if you will, is we've got a cabin by the coast. Now, I bought that years ago with regards to when Lewis moves out, that we're going to sell up here. Yeah. Me and Joanne will go and live at the cabin. And that is like, basically, it's a static caravan. Very nice, but it's a static caravan. And we will live there, walking distance from the beach. And, wow. And everything, again, your cost of living is much lower.
Goes down.
Goes down. And all I'll do to tick over is carry on doing some writing, write some more books, and write for Substack. Not that we need the money, because we've got pensions and things. Yeah. But obviously with the house sale, not that I'll need anything, but what it'll do is give me a direction to tick over. You know, and
that's amazing.
Pass things on. You know, so it's again another little downsize, and then, you know, you live in the next chapter of your life happier still. So that's the plan anyway.
You know, I come from Eastern Europe. I was born and raised in Sofia, Bulgaria, and I immigrated here when I was 13. And, you know, obviously, the country was communist back then, but even now, when I go back, I see a very similar pattern. Like when it's there, people are so much calmer. They're so much relaxed. They have so much less stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. When I went there first time, because we have Amazon here. I don't know how you guys are, but Amazon, like, I mean, if I order something, it can be here within 2 hours, or I mean, it's crazy. Super fast. So, and I live in the Atlanta area, so that's like one of the biggest hubs. I go there, I detox. There's one little bitty gym in the neighborhood, and I'm talking like it's probably 3 times the size of my garage, with an old Eleiko bar. That's the only bar there, from like old Russian Eleiko weights, you know, from the 80s, which I love, by the way. But I had like the best time. And when I come back after 3 or 4 weeks, I get brain blasted. I go into, like, you know, my garage obviously is fine, but when I go to like sauna or cardio, I go to like a regular gym here, I literally get brain blasted from all the colors, the machines, the excess, just the business. It takes me like a couple of weeks just to kind of acclimate back to here. Because, and mind you, you know, when my mother lives, she lives in the capital, so it's not like she lives up in the boonies in a quiet little, you know, village. That's even more so. But even for the busy capital city, still people are so much coming. They have so much less stuff. 4 or 5 o'clock comes, everybody's out in the park. You know, they drink and smoke a lot, unfortunately, but that's a different issue. But they're socializing, coffee shops, relaxing.
Yeah, and they tend to, even though they're smoking, they tend to live a long life because they've got no stress. The stress is
yes. I know it's horrible to say that, but yes, there's a lot of truth to that, because the stress kills. I cannot emphasize how stress kills. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that longevity.
We live in Leeds now, and our cabin is maybe an hour and a half away. And when we go to the cabin, it is so slow, so quiet, and so small of a community. And then when you drive back to Leeds, as you're getting back to Leeds, you can feel everything speeding up. Even people on the roads are faster. You get home and everything's quick, 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 quick.
Yeah, they get cut off.
The cabin, it's a relaxed life. You know, just everything is it's just so much quieter. You know, the sky and everything is just so much clearer. You know, you see the stars more and everything else. It's much better standard of life. So looking forward to that in the future.
And plus, being by the sea there, you have this negative ions coming out of the fresh air.
Yeah.
That's just
amazing.
It's good.
So very good.
What are you going to do with your gym though? Like you gotta move the gym over there, right?
We'll either move the gym over there, either I'll get like an outbuilding somewhere, because
yes,
the land we're on is owned by a farmer, a friend of ours who was a farmer, and he's probably on what we're on. There's maybe 30 cabins on the land we're on, but he'll have a farm and he'll have something on the farm which we'll be able to put some kit in. If it doesn't, if like somebody comes and wants to buy this house with the gym equipment in it, I'll sell it. Because what I'll do then is I'll just set up a new one when we get cabin. You know, it can be, you know, walking distance from where we are. We might have to walk to the farm or another little building and then train. You know, so because I'm in this like Richard is. I think to myself, well, I'm coming up for 60, but yeah, Richard's 84 and still training. You know, it's my friend Bob, who's 71, looks amazing still at 71. So I'm thinking, I want to look like Bob when I get to that age. I want to look like Richard when he gets to that age. So I'm always inspired by somebody a little bit older.
Yes.
Think, you know, so I don't worry about getting old. I think, well, I'm looking forward to be able to be like that at that age. You know, so I think that's a good way of thinking about it, is rather than, you know, you've got to accept everybody gets old, everybody passes away. We're not here forever.
That's part of life.
You've got to enjoy it. Yeah, you've got to enjoy what you do.
But in order to truly enjoy it, you have to live a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I think the biggest reason that people regret and they don't look forward to aging is because it's accepted in society that chronic disease is normal. It's normal to get your knees replaced, hip replaced, to be on 50 medications.
You don't have to.
No, that's the thing. I don't know if you ever seen, you can look him up on Facebook. His name is Ernest Tuff. I want to say he's from Ireland or some of your parts of the woods there. Right. The guy is 85. He's, I think he just smoked a 503 deadlift or something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I might have seen that.
Yeah. Ernest Tuff. There's a guy from Canada, Joe Stockham. I'll send you the link. I mean, he should be 96 by now, but in 90, he did a triple raw with 405.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
He squatted 270, 289 in kilos, 289 pounds in whatever kilos is at that age too. But there's so many others, believe me. Just a lot of those guys obviously.
There's a lot of people. Like, it's a small percentage, but there is people there. But it can be done. You know, if you do the right things now, you know, whatever age you're at, 40, 50, you know, and you really start to look after yourself. And it doesn't have to be. It's basically good habits. It doesn't have to be anything super strict. You don't have to be super lean or anything like that. You don't have to be chucking every supplement down you. You know, as long as you're eating good, healthy, organic food. You know, it's like Richard said when on his podcast, he likes to do intermittent fasting. I mean, that doesn't work for me. Joe likes to do that type of thing. You know, not that you're fixed into anything, but you do something which suits you. So I sort of tend to do more of a vegetarian diet with now and again put a bit of fish in, because that makes me feel really healthy. And I eat a lot of carbs. So I eat a lot of like rye bread, I eat a lot of like fruit and vegetables and nuts and cheeses and milks, goat's milk and things like that. Just eat really, really healthy. And I know the foods, if I look back through my diaries, I've been eating them foods for forever. Since I was 15-year-old, I've been eating the same sort of diet. There's been times when I've eaten quite a lot of chicken or, you know, or fish and things like that when I've been getting ready for competitions. But there's been just as many competitions where I've been vegetarian based.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
there's been no difference with look completely. It's how it makes you feel internally.
Yeah,
and the more vegetarian diet I eat, the better I tend to feel.
Better. You know, so you're absolutely right, and that's the thing is that diets are bio-individual. Bio-individuality, also your genetic ethnicity makes a difference. There's a lot of research, like where did your ancestors come from?
Yeah,
like I thrive on dairy.
No,
I don't drink milk so much, but like kefir and hard cheeses and yogurt. I just do. I don't really thrive on bread, for instance. I also thrive on red meat, especially things like, like goat and goat, sheep, grass. Of course, everything's, organic is grass fed. So
Eat what your grandfather used to eat, and your grandparents and great grandparents.
Yeah. Especially if you have a pure genealogy like yourself, and like you and I am pure Bulgarian. Like I'm not the first generation, but immigrant, but nobody was ever mixed. And we're talking like hundreds of years back in the same land. So that's important too. And like you said, but the bottom line is what you listen to your body and see what you thrive. Now, real quick, I get asked a lot about vegetarianism, and kind of like what you're doing. I'll have to admit, there is a tremendous amount of evidence that heavy plant-based diets, and I'm very careful to say this because the plant-based diet now things become like a war, by the way, here in the States, because there's also a lot of promotion of the, pure gung-ho veganism and all this stuff, which we're not talking about that. But like you said, you high quality foods of, beans, legumes, the rye bread. And when you say rye bread, what you're eating, that's like a black bread. A lot of people have
black. It's really dark.
Thick, dark. Yeah, it's not your, Wonder garbage bread that we have here in the States, or the whole wheat what they sell. That's not. If you ever see a true rye bread, it's thick, it's heavy, and a good slice would be like, wow, I feel good, I'm full. But there's a lot of strong clinical research as well as practical research showing that that type of diet in general, however that looks to you, has a lot of longevity and health benefits. Okay. As opposed to like a lot of people subscribe to like the heavy keto and the carnivore diets. I'm very careful with that.
I mean, you can do a mix of them. You can make up a diet of your own and give it a name. I've had my diet, and I've jokingly called it the hiker diet, because it was a diet what I could eat when I was doing a lot of hiking. I was hiking miles and miles a week, that I could eat on the go. So it was all. But having said that, with you saying that you're Bulgarian, and that my granddad was Latvian. So when I was a kid, Dad used to do quite a lot of the cooking, because I went through like a broken childhood with my dad being married quite a few times. So a lot of the times I used to end up spending a lot of time with my granddad, put it that way. Now, my granddad would have rye bread, cold cut meats, huge salads, stews, not a great deal of meat. And you had to eat every meal, and I still remember this to this day, every meal was with bread. And if you wasn't eating your bread, he would say, we're not rich enough to be eating a meal without bread. And you get a tap, eat your bread.
That's true.
Yeah, I was eating that and cheeses and things like that. Now, when my granddad was a very, very strong man. When he was a young boy, a young lad, he used to work in the forests, and he would like walk to work with milk and a loaf of bread and cheese, sometimes cold cuts if they could afford them. But that used to be sort of staple diet, a lot of the time. And then he instilled in me, the brilliant big salads he used to do, and lots of things with vegetables and potatoes. The type of diet. But that's similar to how I eat today. To what you taught me. I love rye bread. I'll thrive on cheese. I have lots of cheese. I like milk and things, and they don't harm me. They don't smooth you out or anything like that, like you think they're going to do, like carbs do. I think the key is eating a good balanced diet, but also being active, because
100%. And when I grew up in the, like every summer, my grandmother used to take me to the village in the mountains, where they used to have a house, kind of like your cabin. Well, they used to be the villagers there. Used to be some full time, a lot of shepherds with sheep, and they'll have the right bread. They'll have a canteen of milk. Sometimes they'll bring the canteen empty because they'll just milk the sheep right there. Feta cheese. In my case, they had a lot of feta cheese and regular cheese, but like the feta was a staple. And they used to have onions, like leeks, and depending on the season of vegetables, I'll bring that with them with salt, and a lot of the cured meat. So in the cellars, they'll when they slaughter an animal, they'll cure it with a salt thing, right? And then they'll slice it. But man, that thing was like dry, lean, and it was good. But it was digested well, and again, that was the staple. Exactly what you said. One of the biggest things I get people we did, because I practice functional medicine now, and one of the things a lot of times, unfortunately, have to have people get off of dairy. Right. So here's the confusion. Because first of all, the dairy that we have here is very low quality from sick animals, not properly. You're not talking about healthy, organic, grass-fed animals. You're talking about confined animal feeding operation animals, could be given hormones, antibiotics, very heavy genetically modified grain diets, which that's all they eat. A lot of them don't even really see a pasture. The dairy is very heavily pasteurized and additionally processed. So, you know, I always tell people it's not just what you eat, but what your food ate, how your food was raised.
Absolutely,
And the other problem that I see consistently with close to 95% of my patients now is they have digestive issues. Severe amount of food sensitivities. That's why I can't tell you how many times people say that we went to Ireland, England, Italy, France, Denmark, whatever. We had pastries, we had cheese, we had crazy amount of breads.
I'm absolutely fine.
I felt phenomenal, and I didn't even lose. I lost even weight.
You're not getting the processed food, you know, because it's so it's easy. Just try and eat unprocessed foods, you know, as close to nature as possible. You know, I always say, another little saying I have is, you won't beat Mother Nature. You've got to work with her. You've got to work with her and eat the right things. I eat, like, you know, as natural as possible, nuts, and I've eaten mostly organic since I understood it more from probably the early 90s. You know, understood organic foods and how they're better for you, and you know, I think I learned a lot of reading Bill Pearl's books and things like that, and Clarence Bass books and things. So I've learned a lot off them, and I've read probably more about nutrition than anything else. But it all comes down to eating similar to how your ancestors ate. Or if you have an idea, if you're more Swedish or something like that, you have to eat like that. You know, if it's like the case point here, a good friend is Robbie Robinson. You know, the top bodybuilder. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Yeah,
really.
And he's been here many times, and you know, we've trained together, and he's stayed here. We've even done like a guest post together quite a few years ago. Now Robbie eats a diet. With him being obviously African American, he eats a diet really heavy in meat.
Yes.
So he eats a lot of fatty chicken, he eats a lot of fatty beef, and that type of diet suits him. Now, I tried that diet, and honestly, it just made me feel poorly. I couldn't do it. I was thinking, oh, he's got the holy grail of diet, and he looks like that. So I tried his diet, and I lasted all of a few weeks. And then straight as I got back onto the heavy breads, the cheeses, the eggs, and things like that.
Exactly. You have to respect your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what is the commonality with you and Robbie? No processed food.
Yeah.
He goes to farmers markets. I know that.
All the time.
Fresh food. He buys a lot of seasonal stuff. You know, he obviously in California, they have a lot of organic, fresh stuff available to go around.
He's very clean all the time. And I tell you what, he's very, very relaxed. There's no stress in that guy at all. He's very, very relaxed.
And then the first when I started following him, because first time I remember him back in the books where he was in his heyday, you know. And pumping iron. And after I didn't really follow him, probably about like a few years ago. Actually, I sort of saw him because of Michael Hearn. I don't know if you know Michael Hearn, he's friends with him, and then I started following him. And at first I almost for a second was like, gosh, I wonder if he's struggling with some kind of neurodegenerative, cognitive decline. And then I realized, no, the guy just relaxed. He's just cool as a cucumber.
When he walks, he glides. He walks like a cat. He walks so slow and steady, and he's very easy going. He's sat in our house many times. I went for one of his camps like years ago, and we got on that well. We were supposed to only spend 2 or 3 days together doing like a little bit of training. We got on that well that what we did was we did a video together called the Masterclass, which he sells, and we did that together and sold that. So, and that was really good. And then he's been over here for guest poses another couple of times after. So we speak regular on the phone. Well, he texts me, but he can't get used, Robbie, can't get used to the time difference here. So he texts me at like 2 a.m. in the morning or 1 a.m. in the morning and stuff. And he's chatting away, but I'm like thinking, Robbie, it's 2 a.m. here.
I'm sleeping, man.
He can't get used to the time difference.
Wow, that's amazing. We definitely have to talk about that a little bit more. Let me ask you this. So I, from my practice, with the topic on alcohol, alcohol is a big topic for a lot of people. I always get asked. I can tell you this, that anybody who I work with that try to reverse chronic issue, including if they're trying to lose weight, alcohol has to go. That's something that I have believed in. I have given a fair shot to, okay, let me go ahead and be a little more lenient with that, just see how it works. It doesn't. Now practicing functional, health, functional medicine, yes, alcohol has to go. Alcohol is a toxin. I don't care what anybody says. The literature, the science confirms that. From a practical standpoint, I can tell you that alcohol does not help in any way, shape, or form. It only hurts. Now, I'm not talking about you having a drink or two on New Year's Eve, or even maybe getting a little drunk once or twice a year. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a regular consumption of wine or beer or liquor, and moderation, even below moderation. People get asked. I just have never seen it work at all in any way, shape, or form. If anything, I've only seen and seen it hurt. I can tell you from a research standpoint, from clinical standpoint, that I've spoken to numerous cardiologists in my country, for example, because drinking is extremely heavy. Mm-hmm. And the biggest reason is mostly among men, and that is because of stress. Mm-hmm. And the death rate right now in Eastern Europe, especially my country, is 2 to 1. Death rate to birth rate. Right. What I'm trying to get at, alcohol has a lot to do with that. I lost my father not to alcoholism. He was never an alcoholic, quote unquote, but he drank heavy. Right. And he liked to drink, and he damaged his heart because of that. And he didn't even know it. He was a very strong, potent, typical workhorse. He was a pro athlete back in his day. And again, alcohol never controlled him. He would usually fast alcohol even 2 or 3 times a year due to Christian holiday stuff that he'll, Christian orthodoxy holidays that they'll do. But alcohol had a massive cause for his death. And I've seen this over the years with clients, with patients, and with friends. With that being said, what is your standpoint on alcohol, regular alcohol consumption for health and longevity? Does that work?
Do you know what? I never really give it much thought, because the clients I've had over the years, when they were getting ready for competitions, they weren't drinkers anyway. I mean, I don't drink. I might have a glass of wine a year. And I'm talking a small bit like that, spread out over the year, so it would turn out to be a glass by the end of the year. And that is odd times I'll have a little, if it's like a wedding or something like that, and you get handed like a champagne or something, I'll drink a little bit of it. I just don't when I've had a glass of wine, it goes straight to my head. I just don't have a tolerance for wine at all, or any other drink. I don't like the taste of it anyway. I don't like it. So, I've never been a drinker at all in all my life. Even when I was a kid, I was not going out, clubbing and going to pubs and things like that. Because I was always into my training,
Awesome. And you see, over the years, with your clients and stuff in general, the general observation, have you seen people that, didn't drink, did better?
It's probably for body fat loss. I noticed a big difference. I said to somebody, cut down, if they were having so many glasses of wine, throughout the week, then if they cut it down, they do see a difference. See what I said. It's nothing. Right, we're good.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay, awesome. And then again, that confirms with me, because from a health standpoint, yes, and again, I'm not talking about you even having a glass or 2 of wine every month. We're not talking about that. We're talking about 1 or 2 glasses, let alone more, of beer, wine, or alcohol, or hard liquor every day, or even a few times a week. The body fat, especially women, absolutely. They took out alcohol.
They lose it over, very quickly.
I mean, and again, I had people who, were gung-ho, doing it great, the whole 9, everything else, but they just had this, they wouldn't let go of the wine. And I'm talking 1 glass of wine a night. The minute they let that go, here goes that body fat and that water.
And after a while, they probably get used to not having it, and then it never returns, because sometimes they're holding it as a crutch, that to think it's making them happy. And when they get the new body and the new health regime and they feel really good, in their own skin and they're looking better and they're feeling better and the energy level's higher, it's not needed anymore. So,
absolutely. And also, another thing,
Mm.
no, you're absolutely right about that. And another thing that I've noticed too with alcohol, then, again, I noticed it a long time ago, people sleep better.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
alcohol is a depressant. So, it helps you go to sleep. It helps you because it's a depressor. It down-regulates you, but inhibits numerous reactions in the body that actually prevent optimal sleep. So you're right. When they get healthy, when the energy increases and metabolism improves, the alcohol goes away. They're like, oh my God, I sleep so much better and I feel better. And when you say they look better, is because when you sleep better, you are going to by default look better. Your skin is going to look. Yeah.
It's like saying that alcohol's never been on my radar ever, along with my healthy eating. It's never been a thing what's entered my head, really. It's just sort of not in my wavelength, not in my view at all.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for for confirming that, because that's very important. And as far as like your lifestyle, you and Joe, what do you guys like to do for relaxation, for hobbies, stuff like that? What do you guys like?
We've got 2 dogs. We've got Ted and Ernie, 2 Jack Russells, and they take a lot of exercise. So we do walk miles and miles and miles. And when we're at the cabin, we're on the beach all the time with them.
That's awesome.
We do walk miles while we're here as well, because there's some nice walks where we are. So we do generally a lot of walking. And we also like, a little bit of TV. We don't watch too much because Joe works on evenings. I read a lot, and we listen to music. We train. We just have a good life, a really nice,
that's awesome,
non-stressful lifestyle. Really, it's just lovely and easy going. We do what we do. We spend a little bit of time with Ren, my grandson. So we look after him a couple of days a week, which is nice. So my daughter can go either to work or if they're going out to the movies or anything like that, we'll watch him then. So that's fun to see and be part of his life, because when I was working a lot, back in the day, and my 2 kiddies were very young, I wasn't seeing them very much. That's something I regret as well. I worked far too much and I wasn't at home, when I should have been. We're very, very close now. We have an amazing relationship, me and my kids, but I do regret working too much. I wish I'd known then what I know now, because I'd have been able to set the gym up outside earlier, and it'd have been a much better sort of family life, if you will. Not that there was any problem with it, because obviously I was trying to earn and keep a roof above our head and keep obviously food on the table and everything else and pay all the bills. But there was a better way, which is what I'm doing now. So I wish I knew then. But what's gone is gone, and just move forward and enjoy the rest.
Well, but nice, you can give again the wisdom and discernment to somebody, the guys that are in their 20s and 30s and are listening to this. So somebody like you and I, what matters is the quality of life. The people, life is lived with people and your family, your friends.
That's the most
important. Stuff.
Yeah, no, it's stuff, and I'd rather. I spend money, what money I get, I save it up, and then what I do is I pay for holidays. So, as many holidays as you can get. And I can't tell you how many times I've taken everybody on holiday, and I take the whole family, pay for it all, because, I love to be able to do that. And if I had 2 cars parked on the drive and everything else and the mortgage and all the rest of it, I say mortgage now because what we did was we strived when I was really busy to get rid of the mortgage as much as possible. And we did, and then the last little bit when Louise passed away was paid off, but there wasn't much left. We'd got it right down between us, and every little debt we might have had from businesses or whatever, or bank loans or whatever we had, we got rid of. We worked really hard and got rid of it. So there is a way you can plug away any debt you've got and just get rid of it. It takes time, but if you think to yourself, look, I'm going to give myself 3 years to get rid of everything. I always say, another little saying is, look, you can either earn more money or you can cut your overheads. And I decided after trying the earn more money thing, to be able to feel financially secure and everything else, I've decided it was better doing reducing overheads, reducing everything as much as I could. And that warranted then for less feeding, less earning, which freed up my life to be much happier. And it's not for everybody, but for my personality and the way I am, it's been absolutely amazing.
No, listen, I study patterns in different cultures and, for health and vitality and in general. And what you're saying is true across honestly every nation, give or take, especially the first and second world countries like us that, you know, that it's not, you know, you love people, you spend time with them, and you use stuff. Most people have it reversed. They love stuff. They try to buy the car, the houses, the clothes, whatever it might be, and they use people to do that, right? Meaning not necessarily in a bad way. Some do, obviously, but mostly I got to get a better job. I got to get promoted. I got to up another business. I got to make more money, because the more stuff I have, the happier I'm going to be. And this is a bit of mentality. And the people that, you know, I don't know if you ever heard of a region called the Loma Linda. They call the Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah, I think it's really good.
Exactly what you're preaching, man. Because think about it. You know, they're debt free. Again, we talk about, you know, like I said, clear debt. They live below their means. They spend a lot of time with family and friends. They have a very high vegetarian-based diet, not vegan, but vegetarian-based diet.
Vegetarian,
a lot of time outdoors, gardening, walking, hiking, whatever. And
exercise is part of it, part of their culture every day. They've got to exercise because they feel that their thoughts is that the more stronger, healthy body is praise to God, isn't it? Because they're honouring Him in that way. So yeah, it's a really good culture. I think that's awesome. And I was made aware of that from Bill Pearl. Bill Pearl's my favourite bodybuilder of all time. So I based a lot of my diets on him, and obviously my granddad. I realised that, you know, it's you've got to eat, you know, to your ancestry to a degree. I remember reading the Western Price book as well way back, and that mentioned
physical degeneration. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Remember that, reading that years ago, and then I realised that, you know, that the diet my granddad was giving me as a kid was perfect. You know, no wonder I was you know, naturally quite strong and lean as a young lad, because I'd had a better diet than all the other kids.
Yeah, 100%. And again, back to the point, and the principles are all the same. If you look at all across, they're all the same. And if you remember the physical, you know, degeneration in Western society, that book, the famous book from, you know, Weston A. Price, he, I don't know, by the way, I don't know if you know the Price Bollinger Foundation. That's a phenomenal resource. I'll send you the link. And also the Weston A. Price Foundation. I'm a member. But the pattern is, again, the same. You look at the diets of different indigenous populations, they all vary greatly. It can be very, first of all, nobody was ever vegan. There was not a single vegan society ever existed. So let's get that out right now. But it could have been very high vegetarian based on geographical location it was growing. It could have been all the way to extremely heavy meat and fat intake, somebody like that. Either way, the concept and the principles are the same. And that's what I'm always trying to portray with people, because people just love to hang on clicks, fads, the latest and the greatest. They always look for this magic bullet, you know, whether it's some crazy diet or whether it's going to be some latest peptide or hormone or supplement, and they're not addressing the fundamental basics that are the only thing that is ever going to work. Yeah,
and it's so, I tell people it's so simple to be healthy and fit and strong. It's a basic diet, it's exercise a few times a week, and it's walk plenty and have a really calm, you know, outlook on life the best you can, and be happy. And there's nothing else to do to that. It's very, very simple. You know, people ask, you know, I remember mentioning Bob earlier, the 71-year-old chap, and people are like amazed by him, and he never misses his training. He's 3 times a week. He walks every day. He eats the same diet, and he's very easygoing. And it's as simple as that. And people can't believe how well he looks at 71 and how fit he is at 71. And he's saying, I'm just doing the same thing I've done for the last 40 years. You know,
100%. And I have seen this time and time again, the pattern, exactly what you're saying. And I can't thank you enough for sharing all that. And guys, you need to listen to this interview over and over, because, you know, I know I went through a lot of stuff, but the gist of it is eliminate the things that stress. Debt, financial debt is a massive problem for people. It's an epidemic. That causes massive, severe stress for people.
And it can be chipped away at. It can be chipped away at.
100%.
We all get in sticky situations. We all get where we've gone beyond our means and things like that. And you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But you can get rid of it if you think you can. You know, I remember when I was getting rid of debt, I kept a little pocket notebook about this size, and I counted every pound in and every pound out, right down to the pound, every pound in, every pound out. And I kept it, and I kept saving up in a tin, saving and saving and saving. Even if it was only £5, I would put it in the tin, get £500, pay a debt off, pay some of the debt off, keep going. Again, saving a tin, once I've got £500, pay a debt off. And I kept doing that. Yes, you go skint for a little while, but once you've got rid of everything, oh, you're free. And then you can live your life your way. Absolutely. It took 3 years.
And then, go ahead.
It took 3 years to do that, but we got rid of everything.
That's about the average. I mean, we have people like, there's a very famous national guy everybody knows in the States. His name is Dave Ramsey. Right. He has a national syndicated radio show, TV show, you name it, programs. That's about average 2 to 3 years. An average American in the States can clear the debt, and we're a debt hungry nation. I mean, we are probably worse than you guys. There's no doubt about that, because but that is one of the biggest stressors. And like you said, so many people have never lived debt free. They don't even understand or know like what it even feels like.
Oh yeah, it's a great feeling. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been earning a lot of money and having 2 cars and 3 cars sometimes, and buildings and thousands of pounds worth of gym equipment, all put in a gym or in me. You know what? Far better off with an absolute fraction, and much happier, because it doesn't need feeding. I can work if I want. I can have a week off when I want. I don't have to do anything. If I want to. But I see people now. I see my clients because they're friends, and I train them because they're friends. Not that I have to. It's because I want to, and I just. And the money I get just helps pay for some holidays, or take the family out for a meal, and that's all I do it for. And obviously they're getting something out of that as well, because they're getting really good workouts. They're getting where they're coming. We spend a lot of time together, and we're all really, really close. The few clients I have now, we're all very, very close, and we get on really, really well. And
there you go, because life is lived with close friends and family. People, and you can do that because you can afford to do that, as opposed to being a slave to try to pay for inanimate objects, thinking it's going to make you happy. It's not. But recap is eat a healthy, organic, whole food diet that is based on your bioindividuality, based on your genealogy. Exercise 2-3 days a week. Like I said, walk every day, stretch, reduce stress, eliminate stress in all ways possible. That is really the simplicity and the key. And that is something that if you don't address those fundamental bases, again, nothing else is going to change. There's no hormones, there's no therapies, there's no peptides, there's no supplements.
Nothing can make that right. It's all down to you, and sort of like just getting your shit together, basically, getting everything in order.
No, absolutely right. And now I'm dealing with people that want to live a healthy lifestyle, but they have their vices, and now they end up getting enslaved to buying red light therapies and $10,000 infrared saunas, and doing $2,000 a month hormonal therapy. Okay, some of those might be beneficial and in certain aspects, and not a problem. But again, if you don't address the basics, brother, nothing's going to happen. You're going to waste your time.
A long walk on a beach or through a forest or anything like that.
It's going to do far
for your solitude and mind than anything else. And you can have a good think about where your life direction's going. Spend time on your own. Take a diary with you. Sit on a cliff top somewhere, with the sun beating down and the wind blowing, and then you just concentrate on what you want to do with life, and then get on with it. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. I know Ian has to go. Ian, I'm going to stop recording. Just give me 2 minutes, so don't hang up. I'm just going to stop recording. But guys, thank you so much. Real quick, I'm so sorry. Ian, where can people find you, find your books, find your information so they can get your wisdom? Right. Where can they buy your stuff?
Thank you for that. All my books are on Amazon. The main books are on Amazon. So you just tap in my name, Ian Duckett, and it'll come up with my books. And I generally use Instagram mostly these days. And it's Ian at Old But Strong, all one word. And I have a Substack as well, which I write articles on there, which is like a blog website, which is linked via my my Instagram. So you'll be able to find all of that on there. So Instagram, Ian at All But Strong, or tap in Ian Duckett, it'll come up with me. And Amazon, just tap in my name and it'll come up with my book.
And that's IANDUCK. Ian Duckett, Amazon, Instagram, and Substack. I belong to your Substack, and I love reading your blogs. because you give like a very quick, very bottom line. It's entertaining, it's cool, but at the same time, I literally see, okay, how does he live? And you kind of crack everything down, bottom line, real good.
Brilliant.
And not just your training, but yeah, like the words of wisdom, examples of living. So it's awesome. I love it.
Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to the Your Health Reclaimed podcast with Dr. PND. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and share this episode with a person you know it can help. If we can help you in any way, or you would like to connect with Dr. PND, please visit drpnd.com. That's drpnd.com.